Okay, so let's say you get an acting script. You've got an acting script, and you're wondering what to do. How do we break it down? Look, I've seen over eight. My name is Simon Blake. I've seen over 8,000 acting classes. I've been around all this stuff. Hundreds of famous people learning the actual acting technique. Sometimes they're even cast before we have to train them. So that, believe me, that happens. I have over 6 acting books, and there's a community on emotionalpreparation.com. So look, this is incredibly important. We break down the way I work with this is I work with this to break down the scenes into emotions. You want to be able to know that the essence of the ability to do acting is, yes, it rests in spontaneity. Yes, it rests in all kinds of things. I mean, the creativity is the ability to respond to another and be ad lib with them. It means that you're going to release whatever it is that you're feeling. You want your feelings to release. You want your instincts to release. You want your spontaneity to release. All of that's true. But when you're looking at breaking down an actual film script, we are looking at that script and we are saying, from our point of view of that script, which are the scenes that actually have an identifiable emotion? Can we identify an emotion for those scenes? Now, I would suggest, if I break down a script with you, I would suggest that I would identify probably about at least 6 or 8 scenes. Typically, there is only 2 emotional scenes per major 90-minute picture. Of course, sometimes there can be 3, but it depends. But that's typical. So you want to be able to supersede this. You want to be able to have, like, look, you work really hard as an actor to be able to get talent. And you know that you can't rest on other people recognizing your talent to give you opportunities, because that's not the way the industry works. So the opportunities is going to come from your being able to realize your own talent and realize your own growth. And you're going to be able to have the expansion of things happen. And you're going to be able to build up the consistency within your film scripts to be able to break this down. And you get your film scripts and you rewrite down, these are the main 8 emotions. Then we map out the emotional arc. What is the emotional arc of the film? For your point of view, you're doing your point of view. So from your point of view, these are the main things that you're going through: the emotional arc, the emotional arc, the emotional arc. Now, look, a lot of brilliant people. I've studied with over 30 different acting teachers. I don't even know how many. I think it's way more than that. But I know that it's incredible that, and many people have different pieces of advice, and you want to be able to listen and then take in and figure out what's your own acting technique. But the actual technique of writing and putting down a film script or a script to be able to identify those emotions are going to be critical to you, because this is how you're going to develop your own acting technique for specifically that particular script. Yeah. So you have an actual script that you're going to develop your technique for. And you're going to literally know, okay, well, these are the ranges of emotion. Now, I have Emotional Preparations, the book series. They have over 700 very, 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 very good emotions for actors to be able to learn how to recognize them in yourself, learn how to recognize them in others. So the more you're able to hear, and the ability to be able to think in terms of turning your logic off and working more in terms of the emotion. Now, just so you know, emotions are beneath the rib cage. The emotions are going to be at the gut level. This is the reason why back in New York, they used to call it gut-to-gut work. That was with the Neighborhood Playhouse stuff. And there was all sorts of different teachers that taught at Neighborhood Playhouse. So, and that had influences it ricocheted for decades and decades and decades. But the gut-to-gut work is literally simply emotion. So you're looking at the ability to activate and figure out what's going to activate your emotion for each one of those particular scenes. Now, how I would start with this: simple, 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 simple. The first thing I would do, I would write down 100% what are 3 different things, 2 or 3 different ways that you think that you've seen somebody else, or you could even do this. What other ideas of others that you've had with the emotion, and then what you think yourself, where it's like do you think that you've seen this in your own life? So if you've seen, say, an emotion in your own life that another person's gone through, you're going to find that that's going to be a little bit more powerful. But it could be a really good idea to use kind of both of those. But that's literally one section. You're literally working to be able to figure out, how do other people identify this range of emotion? Then you want to work with yourself. You want to work with yourself, and you want to figure out, is there any kind of thing? Is there two or three? Three things would be great if you could figure out three different memories that you have with that emotion. Do you have any memories with those emotions? And remind me later on in the comments that I can expand a few different ways of being able to create memories yourself, even when you don't have those experiences. There is some techniques that I know work for that, and I haven't heard anybody talk about them. Like I literally, I mean, I study this stuff day and night. So it's going to be, it's just, this is fascinating. So you're going to work down this script. You're going to start to identify those areas, at least three different memories. If you have more, write more down, but don't, just don't, you know that the memory is triggering something, that's the thing for that emotion. Then you want to go into at least three different ways that you could imagine that if you were in a circumstance that you would be activated by that emotion. Now, I said if I look at your film script, it's likely going to be between 6 and 8 different scenes that you're going to be able to have to work on. And yeah, I'm talking about like a main character in a film. If you have a part role, it might be less. You might even have, if it's an incredible script, you might even have a dozen, or possibly more, likely not. But you're going to have emotions in each script. So you're going to look at whatever the emotions are in the script. Let's say we just have 6. We have 6 emotions. We do that for the first emotion. We go to the next scene. We go and we work and we write down those 3 elements again. Some element of others that you've hopefully either know about, or have you actually seen or experienced watching others go through that emotion. And look, if it's a movie reference, that's okay too. But if it's true to life, it might even be better. But it just depends. And then you're going to write down your own memories of that, and then you're going to write down 3 things that are, and if you are in an imaginary situation, can that emotion be activated by what you're actually doing, and would it work for you? Does that something that would actually activate that specific emotion? So this is the second emotion. So we do that for every single one of the emotions. And if there's 6 emotions, we have 6 different areas. Okay. Now at this point, we're approaching this work completely different. Okay. I don't know anybody that breaks this stuff down as particular as what I'm describing here. Okay. Now, this is the way to be able to make sure that before I even look at a script, before I even look at any logic of the playwright, of anything else, I'm looking at the ability to see if I can isolate what is the emotion of this scene, what is the emotion of this scene, what is the emotion. I'm not trying to memorize lines yet. I'm not trying to go through anything that's like odorous to be able to exercise with stuff. Although, of course, we all might have our own technique that will be able to jostle through the confines of ourselves, the restrictions that we have in ourselves to be able to unlock that emotion, which, believe me, that's the whole point. You want to be able to unlock that emotion. So you go into this and you work from an emotional level to break down those scenes at this point. You now know that now you want to be able to practice and work with your emotional preparation, your emotional activation. If you're working with emotional recall, great, good for you. And if you're working with a memory, if you're working with only your imagination, great. Work with anything that's able to activate it. Just make sure you give yourself a break, because this can be exhausting. It could be. It depends on how deep the emotion is. You go back and then you start reading the script from your point of view. From your point of view. And your point of view, you now know how to then be able to connect every single thing that needs to be connected. So you've got this script and you have each scene connected. Now, you do this work before you go out and you do a major motion picture. Or you do this work before you go out and work on whatever, music video or whatever you're doing. Look, great. You're going to have the connection to the emotion now more connected to the work. So if you break down the film script, you can still go back and try and make sure that you've got a little bit of logic in it, but you don't want to approach the script from the logical standpoint to begin with. You want to turn around and approach the script from an emotional point of view. Listen, ask me questions if you need to. Thanks.